More than 80% of those inside the Gaza Strip have already been displaced. They've already been forced to move from their homes, especially in the north, either to central Gaza or to southern Gaza. And yes, there will be those that may not get the message, but there will be others who get the message and think, you know what, and we've heard this so many times from people inside the Gaza Strip, from Palestinians, that nowhere in Gaza is safe. And so safety seems to be relative. They may take the view that better just to remain where we are. Yes, there may be dangers, but dangers are everywhere, and it's better just to stay put and not be displaced once again. And of course, what this will also do for those who are moving is further exacerbate the already dire humanitarian situation inside the Gaza Strip. Certainly, it seems that the focus going forward is going to be more towards the central and southern parts of the Gaza Strip, where Israel believes that the senior leadership of Hamas is underground. Israel will initially, it says, focus overground, but they know that one of their objectives, in addition to destroying Hamas militarily, getting those more than 100 hostages that are still being held in captivity in Gaza back into Israel. Israel also wants to destroy the senior leadership of Hamas, which it believes is underground in Khan Yunis in the southern part of the enclave. Becky. It's also worth noting, Bianca, that since October the 7th, when Hamas carried out this murderous rampage in Israel and also kidnapped more than 200 people, taking them back to the Gaza Strip, only one Israeli hostage has been rescued. A female Israeli soldier has been rescued alive by IDF soldiers. No other hostages have been rescued alive. The only ones that have been freed have been those that were exchanged for Palestinian prisoners being held by Israel as part of that truce that collapsed on December the 1st. Opposite, on the other side of the road, at the Defense Ministry headquarters, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was holding a press conference. He said that he was determined to bring all those hostages home and fulfill the other key war objective of destroying Hamas, even if it takes months and even in the face of international pressure. He thanked the United States for the provision of weapons and for its support at the United Nations Security Council, but he said that the fighting would continue until its mission accomplished. Elliott Gotkine, CNN, Tel Aviv. It took a while. The ceasefire was meant to come into effect at 10 p.m. local time last night, but Islamic Jihad militants continued to fire rockets towards Israel for just over another hour, and Israel was continuing to carry out airstrikes until about midnight local time. But for the past 9 hours or so, this ceasefire has been holding. Many of them line this street here, colloquially known as the Champs-Élysées, not because it's posh, but because there used to be a French hospital at the beginning of the street. Israel and the United States will reiterate their commitment to doing whatever it takes, effectively, to prevent Iran from getting nuclear weapons, and in the words of a US administration official, to also address Iran's destabilizing efforts and the threats from Iran and its proxies against Israel. Erica?
Elliott, appreciate it. Thank you.
Pamela, it's hugely significant. For President Donald Trump, of course, it gives him a real foreign policy achievement with which to go into November's elections. For Israel, this is just the third country, the third Middle Eastern Arab country that Israel is due to normalize relations with after Egypt and Jordan. And I think also for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, not only does this kind of take some of the pressure off that he's been facing of late regarding the corruption trial he's facing and his government's handling of the coronavirus pandemic, but I think it also vindicates him in a way. In his words, he's achieving peace for peace. When Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu returned from his weekend in London, he sat gallant, and the result of that is what you see behind me, thousands and thousands of people on the streets of central Tel Aviv. I think it's quite unlikely, Becky, to be honest. Certainly if history is any guide, in 2017 there was a devastating earthquake in the southeast of Iran near the border with Iraq. Israel offered aid and that was quickly rebuffed. Water down the powers of the Supreme Court and also to strike out crimes such as breach of trust, which just so happen to be among the indictments that are facing Netanyahu in his ongoing corruption trials. And as you can see, they've just finished speaking here, but the bottom line is that Netanyahu is now going to start negotiations formally with his right-wing partners, who are expected to form the most right-wing government in Israel's history.
And then, much to everyone's surprise, they then, about half an hour, 45 minutes later, said, OK, we're boarding. We boarded as per normal. We sat on the tarmac for about half an hour, and now we're moving. And the captain very much seems to be thinking that we are going to be taking off.
I'm not sure if I feel completely relaxed driving this, not driving, but being in this self-driving car, but I think I know something that might help. Don't do this at home. There we go. This is the life.